muted.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. The next matter before the board panel, license number R 856799, case number 2022-0636, Suzanne Johnson. I will note for the record that she is appearing via Zoom with her attorney. Would you please identify yourself for the record, sir?
My name is Scott Lusk, L-U-S-K. I'm an attorney in Biloxi, Mississippi.
Thank you, Mr. Lusk. We will proceed as follows. We will have opening statements. We will hear from each side. We will allow an opportunity for questions to be asked and answered. At the conclusion of the presentation of both sides, we'll hear closing statements. The board will make findings of fact and conclusions of law and render its decision, a copy of which will be forwarded to the licensee within 45 to 60 days of completion of these proceedings. At this time, I'll ask that the witnesses be sworn in.
Have all witnesses raise their right hand, please.
Raise your right hand.
So each of you solemnly swear that the testimony you're going to give will be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, put it down.
Mr. Lusk, we couldn't hear your client as she responded.
She responded in the affirmative. She said, just say yes. Can you hear us?
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I will note for the record that there is a quorum present. These hearings are open to the public. Mr. Walker, do we have any preliminary matters?
Yes, Your Honor, could we, like to introduce in evidence B1 through B11?
Mr. Lusk, do you have any objection to those exhibits?
I do not. Thank
you,
you.
sir. They are admitted. At this time, we'll begin with our opening statements. Mr. Walker?
Thank you, Your Honor. We are here today to discuss the conduct of Ms. Johnson. Ms. Johnson's own admission support the charges against her in the complaint. She admitted to sending scripts to the pharmacy, and after they were delivered, not giving them to the patient. She admitted to taking the drugs and admitted that she is an addict. She stated that she takes up to as 20 pills a day. She has also admitted to reactivating prescriptions when she has no prescriptive authority. She also admitted to taking drugs that were supposed to be destroyed pursuant to the authority found in Mississippi Code annotated 73-15-29-1. This board has the power to revoke or suspend the license for Ms. Johnson to practice as a registered nurse in the state. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Walker. Mr. Lusk, you may proceed with your opening statement.
Your Honor, I just state we know why we're here. We know that Ms. Johnson has committed some wrongdoings in her past. She was going through a very difficult time when all of this was going on. Her husband died right around the same time that all of this was actually happening. And it's not an excuse, but I'm just letting the board know that that's what happened. Ms. Johnson has addressed those problems, is continuing to address those problems. And so that's why we're here. We understand that what she did was wrong and in violation. So we do understand all of that.
Thank you, Mr. Lusk. Mr. Walker, you may begin.
I'd like to call her Hashina Jones, Your Honor. Ms. Jones, will you please state your name, county of residence, and your current place of employment for the record?
Yes, my name is Hoshina Jones. My county of residence is Hinds County, and I'm currently employed at the Mississippi Board of Nursing.
And how long have you worked for the Board of Nursing?
10 years.
And during that time, have you participated in investigations resulting in disciplinary actions related to nursing license?
Yes.
And is it part of your duties with the board to investigate complaints received related to individuals licensed by the board to practice nursing?
Yes.
If you would, please mark to exhibit B2 and ID that document for the board.
The document B2 is the licensee's status.
And And when does it say Ms. Johnson was first licensed in Mississippi?
September the 25th, 1997,
And what was she licensed as?
registered nurse.
Okay, let's go to B3. Can you tell us what it says under license status, license discipline?
License status showing administrative inactive, and license discipline is showing suspended or just showing suspended.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's go to B5. I believe it's the fourth page in B5, and I do that document.
B5,
Yes, ma'am. With this stuff.
the order of suspension, suspended license document,
And whose name is at the top of that document?
Suzanne Johnson.
If you would, go to Exhibit A in B5 and tell us what that is.
Exhibit A and B5 is a complaint.
Can you tell us what the charges are in that complaint against Ms. Johnson?
Yes, the charges, charge one is respondent violated Mississippi Code annotated 73-15-29-1. That respondent engaged in unprofessional conduct as identified by the board or its rules, namely misappropriation of drugs, supplies, or equipment pursuant to 30 Mississippi Administrative Code, Part 2820 R12H. And or charge two, the respondent violated Mississippi Code annotated 73-15-29-1L, and that respondent engaged in unprofessional conduct as identified by the board and its rules, namely possessing, obtaining, furnishing, administering drugs to any person, including self, except as legally directed pursuant to 30 Mississippi Administrative Code, Part 2820 R12R. Charge three, the respondent violated Mississippi Code annotated 73-15-29-1L, and that respondent engaged in any unprofessional conduct as identified by the board and its rule, namely practicing nursing beyond the scope of license or directed others to practice beyond their authorized scope pursuant to 30 Mississippi Administrative Code, Part 2820 R12D. Charge four, that the respondent violated Mississippi Code annotated 73-15-29-1L, and that respondent engaged in any unprofessional conduct as identified by the board and its rules, namely failure to maintain medical records in a professional manner, altering, entries, or destroying medical records pursuant to 30 Mississippi Administrative Code, Part 2820 R12E, L, and Mississippi Code annotated 73-15-29-1G, has falsified or in repeatedly negligent manner made incorrect entries or failed to make essential entries on records.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. In that complaint, can you tell us what facts support those charges?
A respondent was employed as a director of nursing at Greenbrier Nursing Center in D'Iberville, Mississippi, on or about August the 15th, 2022. It was discovered that a large amount of Percocet had been ordered on a resident and had been delivered and signed in by the respondent. There was no order for the medication and it had not been administered. On or about August the 17th, 2022, it was discovered that respondent had called the pharmacy to resume a Percocet order that had been canceled 32 minutes earlier. On or about September the 7th, 2022, it was reported that respondent had been arrested for 3 felony counts of fraud, embezzlement, and embezzlement. In an interview on or about September the 20th, 2022, respondent admitted to ordering Percocet for patients for whom it was not prescribed and taking the meds for personal use, consuming up to 20 pills per day, and to reactivating a prescription without authorization that had been discontinued by a doctor.
Let's go to B6. Ms. Jones. the investigative report that was from the DEA's office.
All right.
Who does this report say was interviewed?
Suzanne Johnson.
And what does the report state that the interview was regarding?
She was interviewed regarding her involvement in diverted controlled substance while at Greenbrier Nursing Home in Gulfport.
In number 2 of that report, it states that the investigators met with the owner of Greenbrier, Ivana Kane. What did Ivana provide to the investigators?
Documentation of the internal investigation and copies of 58 suspected prescriptions that were ordered by Johnson and not reported in patient charts, nor were they given to the patients.
On the next page, what was Mr. Johnson's response, when she asked if she had been disciplined by the Board of Nursing before?
She said yes in 2011 for abuse of controlled substance,
And was there any probation during that?
5 years.
So the charges today are not unusual, given Mr. Johnson's past history with the board.
That's correct.
Okay, on that report, they asked Ms. Johnson what the process was for getting a prescription filled by the pharmacy. Did she seem to know that process according to the report?
Yes,
And did Ms. Johnson admit to sending a script to the pharmacy, having the drugs delivered, and then not giving those drugs to a patient?
yes,
The investigators in that report brought up that this happened 58 times. What did Ms. Johnson say about that number?
that she didn't think it was that many, but was not sure.
And what did she say that she did with those pills?
That she took them and she was an addict.
Did she state how many she claimed to consume in a day?
Up to 20,
And did she admit to reactivating prescriptions that had been discontinued?
yes,
And did she have any authority to do this?
no,
Did she admit to taking drugs that were supposed to be destroyed?
yes,
She was asked about selling drugs. Did she say that she sold the drugs?
she claimed she did not sell any drugs.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Lutz, do you have any questions for this witness?
Ms. Jones, have you personally, individually done any investigation of your own into this matter?
Not,
Are
in
you-
this- go
You're
ahead.
just, you're just reading somebody else's report.
I am out. I have briefed myself this morning in reading over this case for another investigator who had an emergency. And I'm stepping in on his review.
All right, and who was that investigator?
Dwayne Jamerson.
Can you tell me what Investigator Jamerson did on this matter?
No, I cannot advise other than he subpoenaed all records that were pertaining to the allegation of drug diversion. And that's what we're working off.
Are the copies of those subpoenas included in the exhibit list?
Yes. No, no,
Can
no,
you tell me where?
no, correction.
Okay, so do you know if subpoenas were gathered for the information?
That is typical how we obtain our information, is that we request for it by subpoena.
Okay, so once again, can you tell me, was that done in this case?
And no, in this particular case, I can tell you that once he received this particular allegation, the police department was willing to inform us of the situation, and we developed our case from there and was willing to give the information. The public records is what we're on this case. This
Okay,
investigative report.
so you're saying that the investigator for the Board of Nursing did not follow protocol in this case?
No, the investigator followed the protocol. If someone is willing to give documents pertaining to an allegation, to when they report it to us and they are giving us the documents, we're fine with that. But if we have a facility or someone to that nature who says, I need this subpoena, then we will submit a subpoena for them.
Okay, so you're telling me, and I'm trying to, I don't have much information. All I have is what y'all given me, that someone from the DEA did not, you did not have to subpoena a record from a law enforcement officer from the DEA, the United States Drug Enforcement Agency, and they willingly provided a report to the Mississippi Board of Nursing. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, and to say yes to that is that we work with all state, local, and federal agency as a combined. And if they have some information that we don't know about yet, they will call us and let us know and advise us on the end. Once they finish or complete their investigation, that they will share. We do share.
Okay. Do you have authority to share with the federal government?
Yes, we do.
All right. What is
have
that? What is
Yes.
that statutory authority, if you don't mind?
We will have to get that for you, but we do share.
Okay. Do you know, because like I said, I'm basically still in an investigative state, so I'm sorry I'm asking these questions.
That's
Do you
okay.
know what federal agent turned this paper over without a subpoena?
It's not located in this file. I will have to go back and search it for you.
Okay, you want to do that?
Not at this time. You need it for later?
I'm sorry.
Do you need it at this time?
Yeah, I mean, I don't, I'm trying to figure out how y'all came into, how you came into the very specific report from the DEA. So that's what I'm trying to see, who from the DEA gave you their report? Is it Kevin Downey? It's his report, or did somebody else provide his report? And who at the nursing board was the report provided to? Was there an email from somebody?
It looks like this report originated from. Okay, the Attorney General office has it.
Yes.
Oh, that's another. Okay. So that's not correct, right?
Your Honor, I'm gonna object because he's trying to find out how we got the information from, and the board regularly communicates with different offices. His client is currently under indictment.
My client is what? I'm sorry?
And you said your client is currently under indictment, is that correct?
No, she is not. Matter of fact, this is my whole situation, if you don't mind. The district attorney's office down here doesn't even have a copy of this report. You, the nursing board, have a copy of this report before the prosecutor's office down in my jurisdiction has a copy of the report. So I'm gonna just Agent Downey know that you have a copy of his report. Or did somebody else get a copy of his report and provide it to the nursing board?
Can we get a recess, Your Honor, to look and see if that's what he's looking for?
Mr. Lusk,
Yes, sir.
it sounds like we're gonna take a recess to see if we can't get the answer to the question you're asking. Can you give us about 10 minutes to locate that, please?
Sure. I mean, can we go on with the hearing? I mean, or is she necessary to the hearing? I'm trying to expedite things, but I'm also just trying to figure out how the information came into the hands of the nursing board.
Well, I was under the impression that you needed that information to go forward. Is that not the case?
Yeah, I would like to know if Agent Downey knows that his report's being used. So if someone can provide me with that information, I would be happy with that.
Okay, I think, want to make sure we're on the same page. Are you saying you want to know how the board received the information, or if the agent knows that the board has his information?
Both.
Okay, I don't know that we can provide you with whether the agent knows that the board has the information, but I think she's going to search on how the board received the information.
Okay, all
Okay, so
right.
We'll try to resume in about 3:45. Is that okay?
Yes, sir, that's fine. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Walker, were able to locate that information?
Not how he got it, Your Honor. We just know that he had the documents and that that's how regularly these investigations are done. He followed the process that the Board of Nursing follows in getting documents. We regularly work with other agencies and investigative agencies and sharing information. We don't know if it was a subpoena or through an email request. We just know that that's a document that was sent to the investigator.
Mr. Luz?
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, at this point in time, I'm gonna have to, just for the record purposes, just object to all of B6 and the investigation, the investigative report. If they're not sure how they got it, I mean, that's my whole issue, Your Honor. There's some very damaging information that's contained in that report of the investigation. So we would just object to its contents and any relevant testimony that has come out of that report already. If they can't verify that it was done in a proper matter or proper channels, we're just going to object to that document at this time.
We'll make that notation for the record, Mr. Luz. Did you have any further questions for this witness?
No, Your Honor, I did not.
Are there any questions for this witness from the board panel? Was there anything you need to follow up on, Mr. Walker?
I just wanted to clarify, Ms. Jones, when you're doing investigation, is it a normal procedure for you to reach out to another agency or investigating agency through email to request any type of documents?
Yes.
And sometimes do they deny those documents?
I've never had a chance where they denied the documents. Sometimes they may ask for a subpoena, but they're always willing to work with us
So you only subpoena them if
if they request.
No further questions, John.
Any questions for this witness after those responses, Mr. Luz?
The only question would be, but you don't know in this situation if you actually have the permission of the author of this investigative report, which is Kevin Downey, to use his report. As we sit here today, you cannot say that you 100% have Kevin Downey's permission to use his report, because you do not know where this report came from.
I can't say where this particular information came from that you're asking about.
Correct. You cannot say that you have Kevin Downey's permission to use this report.
Well, I don't know who Kevin Downey is, but if this is report, then I guess not.
Okay, he's the author of the report, according to the report.
Okay.
So you would agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Your Honor.
Anything further for this witness, Mr. Luz?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Walker, anything further for this witness?
No, Your Honor.
Right, you may be excused. State have anything further to present, Mr. Walker?
Okay.
Mr. Luz,
Yes, Your Honor.
you have the floor.
Your Honor, I have no witnesses. Ms. Johnson is charged with a felony crime down in my jurisdiction, which is Harrison County, the Second Judicial District, and I will not be allowing her to testify while her felony case is still pending.
All right, thank you, Mr. Luz.
Yes, Your Honor.
You can give us your closing, Mr. Walker.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mississippi Code annotated 73-15-29-1D provides that the board has the power to suspend or revoke the license of a registered nurse if that nurse violates the rules and regulations governing the practice of nursing. Ms. Johnson has violated several laws and regulations governing nursing, as we have shown today. She is admitted to using Percocet and taking, being an addict and reactivating prescriptions that have been deactivated without her authority. She also admitted to taking drugs that did not belong to her as well. We just ask this board panel to consider all options under its authority when considering discipline on Ms. Johnson.
Mr. Lusk, do you have a closing?
I do, Your Honor, and I'm basically gonna state it if I could that, with the uncertainty surrounding States Exhibit B6 or Board's Exhibit B6, that's where most of the information, that's where all of the information, it appears, came in front of the board on. It does not appear that the investigator did any independent investigation with the board or to present to the board. So I'm gonna ask that the board at least keep that in mind when they're doing their considerations on this matter. And Your Honor, we believe that information should not come in. There is a criminal felony case pending against Ms. Johnson in, once again, my jurisdiction, which is Harrison County, 2nd Judicial District. It appears from the negotiations into that case, the case has not been indicted, but I have agreed with one of the prosecutors to try to have a preliminary hearing matter basically on it set the first week of January when court resumes. And at that point in time, I believe that Ms. Johnson may be entering an intervention court or drug court program down here in our jurisdiction. We do agree that she does have issues. And we believe that at the conclusion of that program, should she be successful, that she would not have a felony conviction on her record. So I would ask that the board consider that and not necessarily suspend her license permanently. Because I believe everything that Ms. Johnson has been doing, she's already been going to rehab. She's already been doing things to get herself in a better position here mentally and with her struggles. And I believe that everything, once the conclusion, that she will be in a position to where she does not have a felony conviction. So I hope that the board would consider that in a 2 to 2.5 to 3 year stretch, that she would not have a felony conviction. And we would ask if the board would just consider that to where she may be able to resume having a license at that point in time, a nursing license. And that's all, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Lusk.
Thank you.
At this time, I'll ask the board to do an enter close determination as to whether executive session is necessary on this matter. It's been moved and properly seconded. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Now entertain a motion for the board to exit to executive session for deliberation on license number R856-799. Second. Been moved and properly seconded. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously. The board is now in executive session for deliberation on this matter. We will return with a decision. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. We are back on the record. At this time, I'll entertain a motion for the board panel to return to regular session. It's been moved and properly seconded. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously. The board panel is now back in regular session. Following deliberation on license number R 854-976, the board panel renders the following. The license is revoked with drug-related recommendations to include evaluation for chemical dependency, psychiatric, psychological evaluation. A copy of this order will be forwarded to the licensee within 45 to 60 days of the completion of these proceedings. Are there any questions?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that, Your Honor? I did not hear that very clearly. You said the license is revoked with an evaluation, and then I kind of missed out after that.
That's correct. The license is revoked to include evaluation for chemical dependency, psychiatric and psychological evaluation.
Okay. And so it's revoked permanently, or with the evaluation, she has an opportunity to regain that?
Well, the order will actually stipulate to the time frame for that, but she will have an opportunity to regain the license.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Is there anything further on this matter?
No, Your Honor.
Not from the defense, Your Honor. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you all for your participation.
Sorry, I was a pain.
Thank you.
All right. May we be excused?
Sir, you may be excused.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anything